What's up, everybody? This is the official 2025 Fox Sports The Gambler Fantasy Draft Stream. We have, I think this is the third annual draft stream that we're doing. We've got both former champs right here, ready to talk about each pick as they go down. We're going to have about 6 to 8 of us joining us through the draft, a couple people drafting remote. But we're getting started here in just a couple minutes. Let's throw it around the room just to see who we got on stream. We got Sean Bernard. You can follow him on Twitter at Sean_Bernard1. We've got Nick Picone. You can follow him on Twitter at _Picone. We've got Joe Tanzi. You can follow him on Twitter at JTanzi90. We've got Nick McClay. You can follow him on Twitter at NickMcClay22. We've got our fantasy guru, Roy Burton. You can follow him at the BS Line and GT Decision over on Twitter. Sean Brace joining us remote. You know where to follow him, Sean_Brace. Who am I forgetting, folks? Sean Bernard. Who am I forgetting?
We got Sam Ostry coming in the mix here. Who else? We got Beef coming in the mix here. So, yeah, the whole squad will be in here for the fantasy draft. I'm ready. I'm fired up. I'm hoping for better luck this season, so I'm ready to get rolling.
Yeah, Picone won last season. He is our reigning champion. Roy won 2 years ago. And somehow Roy got in and rigged the draft order, and Roy's picking at the top of the board. Unbelievable. I think he was first last year as well, which is the guy's pulling rabbits out of his hat.
Listen, man, like sometimes you just gotta, grab the rosary beads, you gotta grab the lucky horseshoe, sometimes it kind of just goes your way. So it's all good. So, maybe, it doesn't matter because number one doesn't mean that you're gonna win because Nick did not have the number one pick last year and he won the draft, he won the league, so you never know.
You can absolutely win it from any slot, but I'll ask you this, Roy, since you're up on the clock here with the first pick, it's about to start in about 25 seconds. Is this year a good year to have the number one overall pick?
Yeah, I think it's a really good year to have the number one pick. I know a lot of people don't like picking early or picking at the ends because they don't like to wait so long between the turns. But, there are some really talented players that you can get. Obviously at one, you get your pick of the board, but there's some guys who are going to put up some pretty monster numbers. So I think picking at one, and even have to having to wait to 24, I think that's probably better this year than having to wait, having to pick, let's say like 8 and then kind of, come back with that, because I think the talent at the top of the board, the first few guys I think are really standout fantasy stars.
So we have Roy. The draft just started here. We've got Roy on the clock, 1-1. Who we going with, Roy?
Going with Jamar Chase, wide receiver, Cincinnati Bengals.
It's gotta be the pick. Is it close for you?
I thought about it. I really had some discussions about with myself, obviously, about what to do with 1-1, because for me it was either Jamar Chase or Bijan Robinson for me at 1, because because I did a bunch of mock drafts. I didn't like what was coming back to me at that 2-3 turn. For if I took Jamar Chase in a lot of those mock drafts, so I thought about taking Bijan, and then kind of figuring out the wide receivers at that 2-3 turn, but. For me, Jamar just kind of like edged out Bijan. I think he's a kind of a safer play with that Cincinnati offense. So for me, Jamar was the clear number one, but I can make a case for Bijan. But in this league, especially with the PPR league, I think Jamar Chase is the guy.
And then right at number 2, Nick McClay quickly running the pick to the board takes Bijan Robinson. I thought this might be a Saquon pick from you, Nick.
Nah, it was either going to be Jamar or Bijan, pretty much tailing off of what Roy just said. It was 1A, 1B with, in a PPR league like this, I think Jamar was the clear number one, but I don't think Bijan was too far off. So that was my pick at 2 with Bijan.
So I'm going to try to share my screen here. Hopefully that works for the people.
I have mine up just in case as well.
All righty.
And this is where it gets tough. This is where the draft really opens up here. I won't lie. With most of my prep, I was banking on McClay taking Saquon as well. I kind of feel like I have to do it. I think I am going to do it with 30 seconds left on the clock here. Saquon Barkley is coming home to Team Bernard. I'm rooting for the Eagles every single week, and I think he has a chance to replicate what he did last year.
Saquon off the board, 3rd. I have Saquon a little bit lower, but I had him a little bit lower last year, and we saw how that went, and he blew it out of the water. Saquon, the one stat that I keep coming back to that worries me with Saquon, 6 of the 8 players with 2,000 yards lost 800 plus yards the next season, the year after. It's just such an incredibly high workload he got. He obviously had some injury issues in the past before his time with the Eagles. Obviously, he might just come out and prove me wrong and do what he did last year again. It's not like they brought in competition for carries. I worry about some of the sustainability, though.
Yeah, I think that's completely fair, and that is the one thing that had me hesitate there. I think this is purely a roll of the dice. If Saquon Barkley is healthy for the entire season, he's going to be, if not one of the best, just pure fantasy producers out right there. It is just the fact of if he can survive another year with that type of work rate.
Can I just pop in here? Bernard, how much do I have to pay you to get the team name Herbert's Heroes?
We'll see how the draft plays out here.
Is that a cash trade? How do we do that?
Yeah, we could talk business. I could be talked into that one there.
Future considerations.
Yeah. Maybe a draft pick you toss me. We can get that on the name there.
It looks like we're getting our first auto draft here in the first round. I got sent straight to voicemail by Powers, but Powers,
Nope.
It looks like he's going to get Justin Jefferson.
There we go.
That is
not a bad auto pick. I'll give him that.
great auto pick.
No.
I will say, do not be the person in your draft that auto drafts in the first round. It is a really bad. I think it's whatever. I'm not going to get into it.
Or at all. I can't stand, like, I don't know. Just hit the button.
Yeah.
Not that
exit,
hard.
and exit.
Beef's doing it from the damn Phillies game. And
Yeah.
he's
Stott just hits a home run.
Beef. There we go.
Oh, geez.
We could definitely throw some Phillies updates around as we go here. CeeDee Lamb goes fifth to Beef. Roy, what do we think about that in terms of CeeDee Lamb going that high?
I like CeeDee Lamb. Again, if you in PPR leagues, I mean, we're obviously going to be a little bit more biased towards wide receivers. And I'm a little bit more bullish on the Dallas offense than I think most people are. And CeeDee Lamb, again, is just a target monster. 6+ targets in every game last year. Last 3 years, he's had 100+ catches. He's going to get the volume. I mean, I know that Dallas Cowboys offense, at least the receiving room, is a little bit better than it has been in recent years. But I don't think there's going to be any world where CeeDee Lamb doesn't get, let's say, 150 targets. So I think he's still going to be a pretty capable wide receiver. So again, in the PPR league, I can understand taking CeeDee Lamb at 5, but if you want to make an argument for, a running back here, say Jahmyr Gibbs or someone, I can understand that as well.
I have a question for you guys about running back, because Christian McCaffrey's been 1-1 for quite some time. We have Gibbs and McCaffrey. Ashton Genty just went 6th overall. So
Mark seems real happy about that.
So there goes that question, I guess. Devon Achane's a little banged up. Like, how do you, if you can't pick Jahmyr Gibbs or Christian McCaffrey, what do you do about running back? Because it's usually been you pick a running back round 1.
Well, let me ask you a question. Is Christian McCaffrey off your board completely? Well, not completely, but in round 1?
No, it's Christian McCaffrey.
Okay.
I mean, he might be. I know
some people who are just completely won't draft him in the first round just because of the injury history. Well, the injury risk.
He might be the only man standing in that 49ers offense.
I'm that guy as well.
Right. Yeah.
By the way,
you're out.
I think Nick made the correct pick. Some people will think that pick's crazy. I was praying for him the last 2 picks longer. I've got a bunch of Ashton Genty numbers. I guess I'll just read them now. I thought I would be the one reading them with my pick. But fun fact, the last 8 rookie running backs drafted as a top 10 fantasy running backs have finished as a top 10 fantasy running back. Get this also, since 2012, 5 of the 7 running backs drafted inside the top 10 averaged at least 19 touches per game as rookies. All 5 of those 7 finished as top 5 backs in points per game in their first year. During Chip Kelly's 3-year Eagles tenure, Philadelphia backfields ranked 4th in fantasy points per game. That includes 2013, where LaShawn McCoy had 314 carries and 1,607 yards. I think Ashton Genty's going to have a really good year. Jahmyr Gibbs goes 7th. That's also the correct pick. My top 7 guys go off the board with the top 7 picks. You hate to see that. And this leaves me with a tough decision. Do I double up with the guy that I took in the league that I did a couple nights ago? And I think I will. I'm just throwing caution to the wind. Hopefully Matt Stafford's fine. I'm going to go ahead and take Puka Nacua. I think there's a chance he finishes as the number one player in fantasy in terms of the value. He finished wide receiver 3 above Justin Jefferson last year in points per game with 3 touchdowns. I can't stop thinking about the fact that this guy put up elite fantasy numbers with only 3 touchdowns last year. That's just bad luck. He's going to have a good touchdown regression luck, I'd assume. He had 7 touchdowns as a rookie. I think there's a good chance that he's wide receiver 1 overall. So there's some concerns with Stafford, but I have to go ahead and take him. And then you have Luke Arcaney going ahead and taking Amon-Ra. That would have been the guy that I was up with. It would have been Puka or Amon-Ra. If I decided to play it a little safer, I would have went with Amon-Ra.
Mm-hmm. So, Mark, let me just kind of circle back to Tanzi's point about CMC. So you did not consider it CMC at all with that pick?
No,
right there.
No. And CMC is running
injury
back.
History or?
Yeah, it's partially injury history for sure. He didn't look right last year, even when he did play. Now, you could say that that's injury related, but he is aging at this point as well. I'm a little lower on San Fran as a whole. So I understand the upside. The upside is evident with Christian McCaffrey. So,
sure.
But it is very funny that the guy who was Sacco last year in Tim O'Keefe goes ahead and takes Christian McCaffrey, because Christian McCaffrey in the first round might be a freeway ticket to the Sacco. But it might not be. It might be a ticket to the championship. So Christian McCaffrey goes 10. Brian Thomas Jr. goes 11 to Tansy. I would take Brian Thomas Jr. over Christian McCaffrey for instance. For what
I would like to thank the group for letting me sit back here and take Brian Thomas and Malik Neighbors with my first 2 picks.
Good picks.
This is stud university over here.
And then Nico and HN. I gotta admit, don't love that start. Don't love the Nico and HN start. I actually have Nico wide receiver 10. He's like my last of the elite wide receivers. And then I have HN running back 7. So there was players at both positions I would have rather taken. I definitely like Tansy's start a little bit better there. I like Tim O'Keefe's second round pick a little bit better there in Derrick Henry. PPR league obviously takes a little of the sting out of Henry, but he's just gonna you can't count the big dog out.
Are you not taking Chase Brown here, Mark?
No, it's a shame. This pick is too early for Chase Brown in the second round. A big tenet of mine this year in fantasy football is take the elite wide receivers when they're still on the board. And I have the decision, do I care about A.J. Brown's hamstring? Do I say it's between A.J. Brown or Drake London here for me? Very much the 2 last of the elite wide receivers. Tough decisions. I have A.J. ranked above him. I guess I'll be true to my board. I'll go with A.J. Brown. I assume that the Philadelphia Eagles are going to throw the ball a lot more this year, as I talked about earlier with Saquon. I even think if Saquon stays healthy and is just as efficient as he was last year, I think they might take a little bit more of an eye to the playoffs in the future with Saquon. He probably won't be chasing a 2K to kind of keep the pedal to the metal with 30 carries a game. And it's also just they're going to be in more close games. The defense will probably not be the best in the world. Again, it's very rare that a defense repeats that elite year to year, and the schedule is just brutally tough. So I do think there will be a good amount of shootouts this team gets in. I think the stock is up for me on all Eagles pass catchers.
And to that point a little bit, and I did want to get some feedback from the fantasy gurus here. One of the reasons that I still decide to go with Saquon there is I value in the early rounds. I think there's so few elite running backs versus you can kind of survive with some of the late round wide receivers. But obviously there are still the top tier wide receivers that are a class above. How do you sort of balance that when you sort of lay out your outlook heading into a draft?
Part of it for me is that the elite wide receivers more often stay the elite wide receivers year to year. Whereas the running back, more of that top 5, more of that top 10 is variable year to year. Whereas Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, Puka, the 2 years he's been around, like these guys, once you're in that class, it's almost rare for you to leave that class without an injury. So that's a part of it. And I think that the top 10 receivers this year are just so far above the rest of the receivers. I think if you leave the draft without one of those 10 receivers, you're a little bit behind the 8 ball.
Yeah, I think you need to get a receiver for at least one of the first 2 picks has to be receiver. I think that top end receiver talent is just so far and away different than the other receivers you can get. I think you need to leave the first couple rounds with at least one wide out, and then, ideally you'd like to get a running back early. But I think you can get, as to kind of to Mark's point, I think you can probably have more success with dart throws later with running back than receiver. So like lock in a receiver, get a solid running back, and then, take a couple dart throws or, some late round guys, because again, we've seen guys, we'll see guys go in the 5th, 6th, 7th round this year in our draft that'll, probably be top 5, top 10 running backs.
Talk to me real quick about these young running backs, because it feels like a lot of these young guys are starting to take a more of a spot, like Mark's boy Chase Brown, Bucky Irving. I'm eyeing up Omarion Hampton. Like how do we rank these young up and coming star running backs now?
The younger the better. I think at the running back position, especially, you want that youth, and I'm right with you on Omarion. And let me just run down, because we'll talk about them as each pick comes off the board. Great pick from Sean Bernard there. A couple great picks here. Sean Grace. It's round 2, pick 6, picked Drake London. I think that was a great pick. That was who I was between with A.J. Brown. Drake London, 31 targets over his last 2 weeks with Penix, 39 targets over the Penix 3 weeks that he played. Finished as a top 5 receiver last year. I don't think people know that very much. But Brock Bowers, great pick by Picone. That would have been my next best available on the board when Picone picked it. So Picone's rated up with Jensen Bowers.
That's right.
Bowers would have been my selection there. So hat tip Picone.
Hat tip to Picone.
I wasn't in love with any of the wide receivers at that position, so I just went best available in my opinion.
Jonathan Taylor to be a touch early for me. I would have preferred Chase Brown. I would have preferred a Kyron Williams. That's probably the 2 running backs I would have preferred at that pick. George Kittle, hate that pick. Round 2, pick 9. I think that's he's like a 4th rounder. Chase Brown, round 2, pick 10. Great pick by Sean Bernard. Couple stats here on Chase Brown. Where are they? The Bengals offensive coordinator, Dan Pitcher, compared him to Austin Eckler, and I think that is an apt comparison. If you take out his first 3 games, where he had only 19 total touches, he finished 6th in fantasy points per game among running backs. And if you shorten that, over the last 8 games, he averaged 20.6 points per game and saw 24 touches per game. He was running back 4 over that span. The Bengals use a bell cow, and that's pretty much all they go to. They don't rotate backs in. Chase Brown's the 3rd down guy. He blocks, he catches, he runs. He's the short yardage back. He's the man in Cincinnati. Bucky Irving, a good pick for Nick McClay there. I would have preferred Kyron, but Bucky Irving, definitely some upside with Bucky. It all depends on Rachaad White and how involved Rachaad White is. And I'll throw it. I'll throw it. Don't worry about okay. He was very involved in the pass game last year.
I don't think anybody has been worried about Rachaad White.
He's not good. Rachaad White's not good, but he gets a lot of catches. That's the problem, and it takes away Bucky being off the field on 3rd down. But I'll throw it to Nick and then Roy for your 2 picks there. Nick, you went Bucky and Ladd. How you feeling about that?
Yeah, I'm happy with it. I really wanted Chase Brown. I knew if he lasted that long to me in my 2nd pick, I could not let him go. But I see Bernard over there doubling up on the Bengals.
That's right.
And I'm a lot higher, obviously, on Ladd with it in that Chargers offense. I'm a Herbert guy, so I think Herbert's going to feed his guy. And I knew, I need a wide receiver after going, first 2 picks running back. So I'm good with Ladd right there. So yeah, I'm happy with my draft so far.
And Roy, just a masterful start to this draft, in my opinion. I think Jamar, Trey McBride, Kyron Williams is about as perfect as a start as you can have at 1.
Yeah, I mean, I like guys who get a lot of volume, and I was hoping Chase Brown would come back to me, but I knew that was kind of kind of a pipe dream. So I did go with Kyron Williams, best running back left on my board. Again, not much of a competition in that Rams backfield for touches for Kyron Williams. He gets just about every goal line touch for the Rams, so I love him. And obviously Trey McBride, just a target monster for the Cardinals. So I feel pretty happy with my picks.
Sean Bernard went with T. Higgins. I'm a T hater, but even I have to admit at this point, it's pretty good value. James Cook, pick 4, round 3 to Powers. Hate that pick. Touchdown regression is coming for James Cook. Everything went down last year. Volume, efficiency, catches, everything went down. except for touchdowns. And I don't think that that's a repeatable thing year to year personally. So I'm out on James Cook. Tyreek Hill, I don't like that pick from Beef. I'm sorry to say. I just don't know what changed that's going to allow Tyreek Hill to be Tyreek Hill of the past. I guess maybe you could say
the Dolphins could get really ugly really fast.
I agree.
I was going to say, if anything, I think there's evidence for why it won't change if we want to base anything off what we've seen so far.
I totally agree. I could not agree more. I have a player on the board. I am praying that Sean Brace does not draft here.
The Dolphins, it's just a matter of when the Tyreek Mike McDaniel thing blows up and how early it does. Because that's a powder keg waiting to just absolutely erupt.
And could be week 1, by the way.
Very much so.
Yeah.
I didn't notice this. The first quarterback off the board to Nick Picone, the last pick, round 3, pick 6 to Nick Picone, Lamar Jackson, right quarterback. Lamar finished 4 fantasy points per game ahead of Josh Allen. Didn't win MVP, but
it'll be tight end wide receiver, but I'm trying to just go best available.
Yeah, that's what I would say. I don't think you can take a tight end and a quarterback in the first 6 rounds, both of them. And Picone did it in the first 3, so he's really testing my theory. But we'll see how it plays out. We'll see how he fills out that running back wide receiver depth. But I think in general, in a vacuum, I think it's a pretty good pick and pretty good value. I only had 5 players above him at the point that he went. Devontae Adams, great pick by Sean Brace. I think that's a great pick. He was my second best receiver available. And Sean Brace did not steal my guy. I get to go ahead and take the guy that Joe Tanzi mentioned. I clenched a little when Tanzi mentioned him. But Omarion Hampton, this is the guy who I have officially moved into my 20. He's 24th overall for me. So I've moved him into my second round. The best player on the Chargers got hurt, unfortunately.
Exactly.
But Omarion Hampton was helped by Najee Harris blowing his eye out. So we'll see if Najee Harris has an eyeball and if he starts the season.
You're not concerned about the echolocation that he picked up after that?
Wait, what?
There was some Jim Harbaugh quote about his echolocation for how he's seeing holes at this point with Najee Harris following the injury.
I did not see that, actually. That's funny. Yeah, unbelievable storyline there. But I'm very, very happy. I had a stat for Omarion Hampton. It kind of goes along. His floor feels to me like what J.K. Dobbins did last year on that Chargers offense. J.K. Dobbins finished RB 17, and I think it was actually better on a points per game basis. But with Omarion Hampton, I think the difference is that there's legitimate top 5 upside. It would not shock me if we're talking about Omarion Hampton as a top 3 overall pick in fantasy next year. I think he's a special talent. So that was part of why I was so high on the Chargers pre-Slater injury, was because I really thought Omarion Hampton was going to come in there and immediately be not just a good running back, but a darn near elite one. A couple picks since then have went off the board. JSN, who's CD's nuts? That's Luke Arcani. Okay, that's a great pick. JSN, amazing pick there. Best receiver on the board for me. Marvin Harrison Jr., I was big on him last year. He let me down really, really hard. I don't know what changed. That's kind of my big thing, as I talked about with Roy this year. If I'm going to buy in on a guy who didn't prove it to me last year, I need legitimate, tangible change. In Arizona, you have Kyler Murray, you have the same head coach, you have the same offensive coordinator. I don't know why Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to break out all of a sudden from why he didn't last year. So I don't love that. Kenneth Walker, I know Beef, big Kenneth Walker hater. I'm not huge on Kenneth Walker, but these running backs that you feel good about starting go off the board pretty quickly around this stretch. So I totally understand the pick. Josh Allen, I think that's pretty good value for Josh Allen at this point. Terry McLaurin, I think that's good value for McLaurin. Jalen Hurts, I think that's good value for Hurts. Tanzi, you went with Kenneth Walker and Jalen Hurts. How do you feel about that?
Volume. I love the draft so far. Who says you can't win from the 11th pick? I do have to split, but I like where I'm at through 4 rounds.
Jalen, were you planning on going with a quarterback high, going with Jalen, or was that not loving what else was on the board?
It's just gut.
Gotcha. Well, quarterbacks are flying here now. We got 3 quarterbacks.
Nice one.
Joe Tanzi. I like the pick, by the way. Jalen is my QB3. So at this point, if you're taking a quarterback, that would be the guy for me. Alvin Kamara to Tim O'Keefe. Alvin Kamara, Roy, I'll throw it to you on Alvin Kamara. I don't have much to say. Like, the Saints are just so bad.
Yeah.
But he's been so consistently good. It's such a conundrum for me. I won't end up with him in leagues this year, but I'm not telling you it's a bad pick. It's a weird situation for me with Kamara.
Get ready for an 8-man box.
Yeah, I think he's the only guy in that Saints offense that I kind of want shares in on some level, but there's just so much ambiguity, around that team and the quarterbacks and things like that. But he has to get touches, right? Like, there's really no one else really that consistently get that many touches. I mean, Olave is like you always say, Mark, one concussion away from probably retirement. And there's not a lot behind him in that Saints backfield. So I think Kamara is the guy in New Orleans, but again, I'm not in love with him. But you're right. Like, this is the time of the draft where like that running back depth gets a little weird. So you kind of have to pivot a little bit.
And I'm deciding between Jets here. Which Jet do I go with? And I've made my decision. I am going with the pass catching one. I'm going with Garrett Wilson. So I don't love the pick, but I have him as my wide receiver 13. For me to have 3 wide receivers inside my top 13 receivers, it was too much for me to pass up on.
Yeah, I think that's a good pick at this point.
Roy, do you want to make fun of me for how high I was on Breece Hall a couple weeks ago?
No, I mean, like, your team Breece Hall. I was a little surprised you didn't go Breece Hall here. I mean, you love some Breece Hall. Like, you think so? Let's talk about Breece Hall since it's that time. So you think a lot of this Braylon Allen stuff is just noise? Because I think there's a little bit more to it.
I do think it's noise. And I think it's one of those things where Braylon Allen's just a much worse football player than Breece Hall. So it can be noise right now when it comes down to nut cutting time and it's time to have to give someone the ball who's going to help you win the game. I think that there's going to be a really hard defense of giving the ball to Braylon Allen instead of Breece Hall. Unless I'm wrong, unless Braylon Allen's better than Breece Hall, I don't think that that's the case. So I think it's more than likely we look back on the Braylon Allen buzz. And by the way, he's still going like 150 in ADP. I think if the buzz was real, I think he'd be up in the top 80. I think it's much more likely we look back on the buzz like, remember that, as we do with a bunch of backup running backs who get buzz in fantasy every year, than it is like, oh, wow, Braylon ended up being the true RB1 in that offense. So maybe he takes away enough to eat at Breece Hall. Part of why I didn't take him is because I think a lot of people don't like him. Maybe he gets back to me. And there's a couple other running backs that I do feel good about potentially getting back to me.
That hurt. Travion Henderson off the board, which was I very circled on my draft board there. I think there's a real chance that he's like a top 5 potential running back next year. I think he could be that good in this Patriots system. He looks unbelievable. I know it's preseason, but the dude's an animal. I am buying stock in that Patriots offense. That hurts. That went 2 picks before me.
I'm not buying all the way in on the hype.
I really needed a wide receiver there, but I decided not to go with one. So we'll see if it comes back and bites me. But I haven't been in love with a lot of the my board when my pick has come up, other than round 1. So we'll see if my my strategy this year pays off.
Yeah, just to that point, for those watching, if you haven't drafted yet, it really pays to kind of do some mocks. Just go do some live mock drafts, at your position where you plan to draft in your draft, and just see how the board falls. Because again, like, you can do 10 mocks and it'll fall 10 different ways, and just kind of have some kind of strategy going into your big money drafts. Because like, if you're kind of doing it cold and you're kind of stuck in the spot, in the 4th or 5th round, and you just don't know who to pick. Like, that's never a good situation.
I did not think this league was going to clock my exact top 7 overall. To the point where I picked my 8th overall guy at 8 overall. So every league, I think that happened like one time in the hundreds of mocks I did at 8. So Travion, though, going back to that, I'm not buying it on Travion the same way I am with O'Marion, the same way I am with Genty. I do just think the way Vrabel is, he's going to split the carries. I know he didn't with Derrick Henry, but I think that's probably an anomaly. I think Ramondre is going to be a part of this offense. Breece Hall, I think, is a great pick there by Sean Bernard. Mike Evans, by the way, a fantastic pick by Beef. At this point in the draft, he's my best available receiver. That's a great pick. Burrow, at this point, a very good pick, in my opinion, by Powers. I prefer Jaden Daniels, but I do think the value on these quarterbacks at this point is pretty good. So good picks around the board. Cortland Sutton, great pick by Sean Brace.
That's the one I want.
I like that pick. You were going
right before me.
I'll throw a little. I went double on the Cincinnati Bengals with my 2-3 picks here with Chase Brown and T. Higgins here. My philosophy with that is I think the Bengals are going to put up an insane amount of points this year, and I still think their defense is going to be disgustingly bad there. So I'm backing that it is going to be a track meet pretty much every single game that they are in this year, and I'm getting as many of those skill position guys as possible.
I totally agree. I like the plan, and I've been saying if you get the number 1 pick and you're able to go Jamar Chase Brown, that Bengals stack is incredible to me. But yeah, the Bengals are absolutely a team to stack in fantasy. Jamison Williams, great pick by Nick McClay. A couple good stats about JMO coming here. Jamison Williams, I know Ben Johnson's gone, but I actually think Jamison Williams is the guy out of that crew that is the least schemed up. Like I think his plays are just explosion, and they're going to happen whether it's schemed up or not. Finished as wide receiver 25, but he averaged 15.4 fantasy points per game over the last 9 games, which would have been good as a top 15 receiver. I expect a relatively similar season, but if you take his pace from the final 9 games, or I'm sorry, from the final 8 games, he would have had 81 catches, 1,309 yards, 8 touchdowns from week 11 on. Would have been good for wide receiver 5 last season. So I don't think it's impossible that Jamison Williams finishes higher than Amon-Ra St. Brown this season. 1 fantasy scoring leaders.
I would love that. I would love that.
I'm not predicting it, but it's not impossible.
Yeah, I had him circled on my board coming into this, and I know that there's some, wide receivers still on the board that may, be over him right now, but I just think that this is a season for him. I already bet him over 1,000 yards. I think his line's at like 870, 875. Took it up to 1,000. I think this is the year where he really pops off.
James Conner and Jaden Daniels, another incredible turn for Roy. Roy's team, I'm going to end up loving more than my own here, but Conner and Jaden is an awesome one too. How'd you feel about that?
I didn't plan on, we've had these discussions. Didn't plan on taking Jaden Daniels there in the 5th round. But I mean, at a point, the value just kind of gets too high, right? Like there's a value, a quarterback of that value there at, pick 49. I mean, it's kind of hard to pass up. And James Conner, I mean, he's not the most sexiest running back, but RB 14 last year. Very few weeks where he just has a bad week. I think he had 1 week where he was, or 1 or 2 weeks last year where he was outside of the top 24. So he's a pretty consistent running back. And he gets the bulk of the work in Arizona. So I'm happy with that. I got 2 running backs I can count on every single week. Now it's just time to load up on wide out.
Someone just take RJ Harvey. What the hell? Are you
Beef.
Wow. Yeah, I was actually just like thinking like, should I even take him here? Because there's no way anybody's going to take him. He was ranked like 78th on ESPN's board. Wow. Yeah, it's a great pick by Beef. And another great pick by Nick McCone there. Those are the 2 guys that I was deciding between. I have no idea what I'm going to do now. That's tough.
I only got my first receiver. And
that's a problem.
And a very good one.
5th round.
Well, yeah.
That's a problem, actually.
Yeah, it is.
Great pick, but that's a problem.
Picone, we could talk some potential T. Higgins in some Travion Henderson conversations. I have to be swayed here. That can't be a 1-for-1. I still like T more, but just keep that in the back of your mind.
We'll talk.
Okay, good.
Well, Picone does have powers. So I mean, he has at the receiving, at the pass catching positions, he's okay. But yeah, got
I'm down bad
position.
Yeah, this has gone away from my game plan as well.
This is a weird spot right now.
Very weird spot. Very weird spot.
My big thing is you have to get 5 of my top 51 overall. The last 3 names of it just went. The last 4 names of it just went. That sucks.
So according to ESPN ADP, the best guys left on the board, or next best guys left on the board, Patrick Mahomes, Sam Laporta, Baker Mayfield, TJ Hockenson, and Zay Flowers.
Man,
some of those probably do not like.
Yeah, they don't jump out.
Exactly, and endear the most confidence in a lot of people. But
I should have taken Breece Hall. That's where we're at right now. Mistakes were made.
I'm also open to talking business, Mark Henry Jr.
Sean's wheeling and dealing.
That's right.
Wheeling and dealing.
Aaron Jones was who I was going to take. That's unbelievable.
We got a love my team text from Luke Arcani in the group chat. Do we know which
already?
Team name is
Already.
He is. Isn't he CD's nuts?
He may be.
Yeah, that's him.
Okay, so that would be Josh Jacobs, Chuba Hubbard, Amon St. Brown, and Jackson Smith and Jigba there. I don't know if I would be proclaiming love my team yet with these four. I won't lie.
I'll have to look at it. I'm zoned out right now.
I like the two receivers a lot.
It's not a bad team. I'm not saying the team sucks, but I'm not running victory laps over those first 4 picks is all I'm saying.
I know I liked Amon-Ra and his other receiver, JSN. I didn't hear the other names. Damn it. This sucks. Sorry. I'm taking way too long here.
Mark is thrown off the game plan.
No, this is a catastrophe. I don't think I've done one mock where my top 51 was gone at the 5th round. I can't take a 4th receiver. This is bad. This is bad stuff, guys. I'm going to take a 4th receiver. I did it.
Oh, man. Got him off his game.
I like that, though, Mark. I think
I feel like that.
I'm a believer in you take the best available when things go off the rails and let the rest of the team settle in. I think you did as good as you could there.
I hate that.
Don't just reach for a position just because you just want a running back. Just don't
take
reach
your
for
guy.
one. Yeah, don't reach around early for a guy. Take the best guy left and then figure it out.
Yeah.
This draft got away from me, fellas. A receiver for a running back. Let me know. That's where
we can talk. And for the record, Mark Henry Jr. So Amarian Hampton, Puka Nacua, AJ Brown, Garrett Wilson, and Tet McMillan are the options on the board right now. This is the current squad.
I don't know if I've ever went for the first 5 wide receiver picks in my first 5 picks. Not advisable. And then we went Calvin Ridley with the next pick, George Pickens with the next pick. They're a little bit of a tier down for me. Like I would still prefer Rashee Rice. I would still prefer a couple other names on the board.
Even with the suspension, Rashee Rice, the TBD suspension.
The TBD suspension. I prefer Odunze. I'd probably prefer Kupp and Judy. A couple guys still out there.
We've certainly cleared the top talent portion of this draft, I would say. We are now in the
It's where the drafts are won.
Yeah,
exactly. That's where you win your drafts, the middle rounds. That's where you win them.
Jalen Waddle off the board to Tansy. Tansy popped out of the stream.
I'm doing what they technically call hero RB here with Omarion Hampton as the 1 RB, and we're just gonna try to be elite at wide receiver, and hopefully we'll figure it out at the other positions.
Again, I think that is the way you go about it, Mark. I think when it's better to fill in the gaps as the draft progresses than reach and kind of throw yourself off the entire time, I feel. So I don't think you should be super upset about this, but obviously a lot of picks still to be made.
It's really just Hall instead of Wilson. I should have went with Breece Hall. Let the noise get to me a little bit there. But also, it's honestly just Beef is really the culprit. Beef's the main reason I did not take Breece Hall in the 4th round is because I thought that there was no possible way I wouldn't get RJ Harvey in the 5th round. So there you go. I was wrong. Dead wrong.
Is there any of your receivers you would directly flip for Breece Hall there?
Garrett Wilson.
Can't do that one.
He has a much higher Breece Hall for what it's worth. And that's why I did it. But Matthew Golden is way too high. Matthew Golden. Crazy pick.
Little bit of
okay, Sam.
That is a crazy pick by Samson Ostry. Sam Laporta. Solid. Zay Flowers, I don't understand drafting Zay Flowers. I'll be honest. Like I think Zay Flowers, you're like, yes, I get wide receiver 27. Like I think that's what he is. Like
somebody's got to catch the ball.
Yeah, I think last year.
Last year, Lamar had the best quarterback stats of all time, and Zay Flowers is like wide receiver 27. Like, I just think it's so capped. He spreads it around so much.
Or Caney going Baker.
And by the way, that was my pick. I was absolutely taking Baker. I've been sniped.
Yeah, good value for Baker.
Constant sniping.
Sam chiming in the chat.
No, I'm joking.
Sam chiming in the chat saying, "Keep hating, golden historic season incoming." So love
wow.
I love it, Sam. I love it.
All right, I actually like this pick, and I'm happy with it. It's boring. It's ho hum. David Montgomery.
Nice.
When he plays, he's a fantasy starting running back. I know Jahmyr Gibbs owners don't want to hear that, but just look at you run down the list of games he played: 16, 17, 21, 15, 21, 8, 15, 12.6, 12.6, 24.5, 16, 15, 19. Then he got hurt and had 7.5 in that game. He had one game under 12.5 points that he didn't leave early. So he's not the sexy name. He's not going to make you feel like you won your league when you drafted him. But if you're in the 6th round and you need running back help and you can't go with maybe the sexier receiver, quarterback, tight end options with how the draft played out, I do think I got saved a little bit by David Montgomery still being around, even if I was going to take Baker over him.
Yeah, I like that pick. I think he's one of those perennial underrated guys that, yes, you're right. He's not sexy. He's everything but that, but he's going to get touches, and they still use him. Like, as much as I think Jahmyr Gibbs is pretty clearly the superior talent out of the two, they're pretty intent on keeping David Montgomery involved in that system, and it's worth capitalizing on that.
Fun fact also for Jahmyr Gibbs, this is more of a skeptical Jahmyr Gibbs point, which, by the way, you can be skeptical to him. And I have him 7th overall, and he went 7th in this draft. So it's not I'm not saying I hate him. I would have taken him if he was on the board over Puka. But Gibbs was only on pace for 210 carries and 46 catches in the games that Montgomery played last year. Yeah. A lot of that Gibbs breakout came in the games without Montgomery. And it's a new OC. Maybe Montgomery's less involved. Who knows? But I do think it's worth pointing out, if you're going to draft Jahmyr Gibbs top 5, David Montgomery's he's still right. He's still there, still here.
Yeah. Like I think I told you guys when I was on your show like about a month or so ago, like before the injury, like they basically had a 50-50 split in terms of carries. I think Gibbs was 185 carries, and I think Montgomery was like 184. I mean, it was basically like in terms of carries, it was 50-50 before that injury at the end of the year. So Montgomery's going to get work. Now, is it probably going to be closer to like a 60-40 split this year? Probably. But I mean, I think that's still pretty good value for David Montgomery.
By the way, I actually think that's a good pick by Sean Brees and Travis Kelce. I think most fantasy analysts are going to hate on that pick. He's my best available tight end, and I actually think he's become maybe a smidge underrated. He was pretty consistent last year, at least for the first 3 quarters of the season. So I think Travis is a good pick there, and I think Rome Odunze is also a good pick there by Picone. I'm going to throw it to Bernard and Roy briefly to carry the stream.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, Kelsey's a guy who gets compared to the past version of himself in a way that is sort of harmful to him. That, yes, he's not the clear-cut best tight end in football the way he was for quite a few seasons there, but he's still very effective there. For me, I do think this is a bit early for the Travis Kelce train. I'm not with Mark on that, but I don't hate the pick there. I totally get the mindset. He's a guy that there's guaranteed just passes heading his way in a way that I don't think is very true at the tight end position for very few guys.
Yeah, let's just look at, last few years for Travis Kelce, receptions, 97 in a down year, 93, 110, 92, 105, 97, 103. I mean, the man's going to get a lot of work. And, like we talked about before, Rashee Rice is going to miss probably 4 to 6 games this year. So, again, that's going to open up, a lot more opportunities for him, somewhere during the middle of the season. And Travis Kelce, to his point, said, I've been kind of distracted these last couple of years, kind of doing whatever. So I think yeah, it still probably is. Yeah, so I think we're going to see a more productive season.
Did you just call Taylor Swift whatever? Doing whatever?
No. He was doing movies. He said he was shooting movies or doing TV shows or whatever.
Yeah, watch those mentions, Roy. They'll come for you.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Swifties. Apologies, but no, but I mean, I think we're going to see some positive regression to the mean as far as touchdowns, because the man scored 3 touchdowns last year. Like, I don't think we're going to see a repeat of that.
I'm about to get a call from my wife.
You fellas watch the podcast there?
I listened. My wife listened to it around me, so I was like,
that counts.
That was how I heard it.
That counts.
Pollard, good pick by Beef. I feel like Beef's made some picks.
Beef's had a nice draft.
Well, later on in the draft, I'll go through the draft. Maybe I'll even make that more of a thing for my show on Saturday. We'll evaluate the teams a little bit. But fun fact, fellas, maybe this isn't the right time, but it feels like the draft has slowed a little bit. Fun fact, I am driving from Richmond, Virginia to Ocean City, Maryland after this stream. It's about 4 hours, and I'll be getting there at about 2 a.m.
Nice.
Oof. That sounds fun.
And then once I get to Ocean City, Maryland, I'll be driving back to Philadelphia in the morning.
Ooh.
Long story, but that's the way life goes. So we have really slowed down. I do think at the end of this round, I am going to shift it down to 1.5 minutes. By the way, that was to say I might not be hanging out on the end of the stream as long as I maybe have the last 2 years.
No, you got a long drive, my friend.
Might be wrapping it up when we get to the 15th, 16th round for me. So, but I think Sean Bernard's screen has frozen a little bit here on the main, unless that's just for me.
Let's try again. We'll do the classic shut it down and reload. I did go with Stephon Diggs as my selection there. Not a pick that I loved. Beef did snag Tony Pollard from me, who was my pick there. But ultimately, I think Stephon Diggs, the better talent than I think his draft ADP is indicating here. That I am buying a little bit of stock in this Patriots offense, as I mentioned, with sort of the running back love there. I think Stephon Diggs is going to be the number one wide receiver in a way that Drake May needs.
It's a touch early for me, but that last point is the point. If it's a full bet on just being the guy in New England there for Stephon Diggs. I've been skeptical of the talent at this point, even going into last year before the injury. He was better than I thought he'd be in Houston pre-injury. So Stephon Diggs, there he goes. Certainly not a bad pick. Jacoby Myers, though, that's the pick.
Oh, that was my pick.
That's my guy.
Big Myers guy.
Hurt my chest.
Jacoby, yeah, that's like me taking 4 receivers. I realized when I took Ted McMillan, I'm like, Jacoby Myers is not going to be on my team. By the way, when I took Ted McMillan, how long ago was that? A round and a half ago? Jacoby Myers was immediately the best player on my board when I took Ted McMillan.
I thought about it, but I would have had like 3 Raiders.
Yes,
the whole
you couldn't take another Raider. That's right, like me in the other league that I'm in. I had so far. This is my second league I'm drafting that I'm really playing out. I have Genty and Jacoby Myers in that one, so I'm rated up as well. But Jacoby Myers, if it wasn't for Chase Brown, he would be my number one my guy this year in fantasy football. He was wide receiver 19 last season with the worst quarterback play on the planet in the NFL last season. And I think last year, I'm not going to say it's his floor, but I think there's top 15, real top 15 upside for Jacoby Myers.
Yeah, I already took him his receiving yards too. I think that was 850 as well.
Love that.
That. That's a slam dunk. Yeah, I love that.
You went over 1,000 last year, right?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, he did. Yep.
And Rashee Rice, great pick. Cooper Kupp, great pick. Damn you, Roy. This is ridiculous.
One of those guys should have been Jacoby Myers, but it couldn't make it happen.
By the way, I think that is the best value you'll see on Patrick Mahomes in a fantasy.
I had to. I have Worthy too, so I couldn't pass that.
I can't tell you many times I've seen pick 2 of the 7th round.
That's what I mean.
For Patrick Mahomes. So Patrick Mahomes, great pick. Evan Ingram, good pick. Mark Andrews, good pick. The tight ends are going off the board. I think it's about that time for that tier of tight ends. Isaiah Pacheco, terrible pick. He's a bad football player, and he always has been. He's the most overrated player in sports. And that's how I feel. Tyrone Tracy, I hate to do this to you, Nick Bacone. Maybe you can throw it back in my face. I hate that pick. I hate Tyrone Tracy. I know Scadaboo's hurt. Tyrone Tracy finished.
They're telling me he's the next Saquon in New York.
No, I'm not telling you.
They better not be.
What I'm telling you is I think Tyrone Tracy was totally just a volume merchant last year. I think he just got a lot of carries. He did in any game he got less than 15 touches. He only had over 12 points once. So I just think he's a volume guy, and I don't think that volume is going to be there. I think Scadaboo once he gets healthy, will win that job personally.
More or less talented than Isaiah Pacheco, Mark?
More.
Okay.
Tyron Tracy more talented. But fun fact, Tyron Tracy, I don't know what his stats ended up being last year, Roy. I don't know if you want to pull that up for me.
I'll pull him up.
Tyron Tracy, PFF graded him as the 54th best running back of 59 running backs last year. Now that takes like blocking into consideration and like pass catching and all that stuff. But and PFF also take their ratings with a grain of salt. Bryce Huff finished like 48th among edge rushers last year, which is funny. But Tyron Tracy, PFF thinks he stinks. And there is some metrics out there that says he's inefficient. But if he gets all the carries, then if he does what he did
right now.
If he does what he did last year, it's a good pick. I'm skeptical.
He's a guy who leaves yards on the table. Tyron Tracy.
I did pass up a higher rated running back on my board, so hopefully that doesn't come back to bite me. But probably will, because I'm like, my next pick is 12 picks away at this point.
Down the track. Yeah. RB 33 last year, Tyron Tracy, 839 yards, 5 touchdowns, although 38 catches out of the backfield. So again, he'll give you something. He'll give you something reception wise.
33. I actually thought he was
RB 33.
I thought he was better than that. Wow.
Yeah.
This is a pick I know
in terms of the points per game. Yeah.
I know at one point Roy really liked this guy. There's been some negative buzz in terms of his standing in the backfield. But I'm going with Caleb Johnson. I think there's big upside there. If he is the guy. The stat on Jalen Warren that I keep coming back to, I'm not a Jalen Warren guy. The stat I keep coming back to, they've given him fewer than 15 touches in 85% of his career games, and he averaged 10.5 touches per game last year. Is the difference from Najee Harris to a rookie running back you took in the second round that big that you're going to increase Warren's workload by some X amount? Like, I just don't see it. Like, maybe it's not right away. I think Caleb Johnson's absolutely the running back you want to own in that backfield.
Yeah, that was my case for Caleb Johnson, because Najee Harris had 299 touches last year. Jalen Warren had 158. Like, I don't think that's going to flip. I don't think Jalen Warren's going to get 300 touches. So I think at worst, it's a 50-50 split in that backfield, and probably better than that. I think if Caleb Johnson, has, a nice, beginning of the season, I think he's probably going to get the bulk of the work in that backfield. So yeah, like there were early reports out of camp that he wasn't, picking up blocking schemes that well and kind of, not being ready to assume that number one at RB1 spot in Pittsburgh. But if you're going to take a guy, I think that's the guy you probably lean towards over Jalen Warren.
I was torn. I was kind of debating the two Steelers running backs there when I went with the Evan Ingram selection. And I kind of landed on, if I'm debating between two guys on the same team, it probably means stay away from both. But you guys do think there is a clear leader in the clubhouse there?
Well, right now it seems like Warren is who they like.
Will be.
I just think by the end, it's similar to the point I made about Brees and Braylon Allen. Like, I just think when you throw them both out there, Caleb Johnson's going to be better. Okay. So I do believe in him to wrestle it away. Now, by the way, I said I wasn't that in on Travion earlier, and I have Travion ranked like a good bit above Caleb Johnson. If Travion was here now, it'd be a different conversation. But it's the 4th round compared to the end of the 7th. By the way, Kirkering blew the game. That sucks. It's my fault for not paying attention. That's totally on me. Kirkering needs me out there. That's
your guy.
Big Kirk needs me. Yeah, he is my guy. He's still my guy. He's the man. He has a 2.8 ERA now. He had like a 1.5 ERA since the last month and a half before that. Whatever. Buzz off.
We got tie ball game. Is that what I'm hearing?
Off.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Not good. But a couple good picks here. Zach Charbonnet, I like that pick by Brace. Probably a touch early, but he is a guy I've been targeting a lot, usually a little later. David Njoku, I'm not a fan of that pick. It's just, I know he was good with Flacco. I just don't want any part of that Browns offense.
And they drafted what's his face, the tight end.
They did. I don't know. I think he'll be more of a developmental guy. But I just Judy and Njoku, whoever the running backs are, like Tillman, maybe. I don't know. I'm probably just staying away. Hawkinson, it would be the guy I prefer there over Njoku. Jalen Warren, I think at this point, is a fine pick. Cam Scatterbo, I love that pick by Sam Ostry. I think that's a great pick.
What do you think Scadaboo's role is in this Giants offense? Do you think, like, obviously the injuries are kind of a concern right now, but when he steps, do you think he'll be a bit of a featured back or kind of a scat back type guy? How do they use him?
I think he could be Chase Brownish a little bit. Like I think that he's a great pass blocker and a good receiver. So I think it's going to be one of those things where he's going to get himself on the field on third down, and it's going to be on him to stay on the field beyond that. And Tyron Tracy's not a pass catcher, like he's 38 catches last year, like Roy said. I think that'll be the first way Scadaboo gets on the field, and then he's got to prove he can kind of be a bell cow beyond that. So, and it's one of those things like Dable and Shane should know that like their only way out of getting to next season is like, look at all this young talent we're developing. And like it's gotta be a guy you just drafted and guard, obviously. Like I think if you're them, you're not gonna make the playoffs and get yourself off the hot seat. You have to do it by developing the young talent, which you could argue Tracy is too, I guess. But
I was having this debate Saturday when you weren't there, Mark. How many games until we see Jackson Dart, do you think?
5.
Yeah, okay. 6. Yeah.
We landed on the over under at 4.5 there, which I was slamming the over of.
Over for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a good over under. I would go over as well, but
yeah, I'll go over.
If it happened in week 4, I wouldn't be shocked though.
I was more of making the case. I think the Giants, for a lot of the same reason that you just sort of said, with like they need to show that they have this like youth movement going and that they have a developmental plan. That this is what they're invested in. Like I think they kind of take the Drake May approach, where they rolled out Jacoby Brissett for the whole first half of last year, and then they were able to cling. And obviously there was a firing in New England, so not exactly the track record for you're hoping for there. But I kind of think that's going to be the approach in New York. Is like that's the card you're holding in your pocket of this guy's coming along. This is our future, and this is my guy. Like that's what we're building toward.
Bo Nix from Joe Tanzi.
It's Roy, a pretty rough schedule for the Giants. I'm sorry, pretty rough schedule real quick for the Giants. Washington at Washington, at Dallas, home versus KC, home versus the Chargers, then at New Orleans, week 5, then home versus Philly. Pretty tough road for whoever that quarterback is until Jackson Dart gets in there. I like Bo Nix. I mean, I'm kind of confused about Bo Nix. Is last year the floor for Bo Nix, or is last year like kind of closer to the ceiling for Bo Nix?
Yeah,
because I think this is. I mean, I don't want to say it, but I think this might be shades of CJ Stroud-ish, where he had a really good rookie season, and then year 2, the kind of league kind of catches up to him and kind of figures some stuff out.
And Stroud was way better, for the record.
For sure.
I agree. Man, this is tough.
Good pick, Arcani.
It's a very good pick. It's a
good pick with the news with Jalen McMillan being out. I was scared of Buka, but now with no McMillan, that certainly helps his case.
For sure.
Love it, Buka.
Do I do it? Do I do it to him? If I don't do it, I think I know who will. There hasn't been enough news on the guy that I want to take. But I'm gonna go ahead and take a quarterback, and some people are gonna be shocked by this. Let me check what his ESPN default ranking here is. Out of curiosity, I have my rankings up.
Kyler? Are you talking Kyler?
Justin Herbert finally off the board, ladies and gentlemen.
There he is, right?
There you go. Stand on business. I appreciate it. You were standing on business.
We're stacking Fields and Garrett Wilson.
I like that.
That's a good stack.
And if I didn't take him, I think Sean Bernard was absolutely gobbling up Justin Fields with one of these 2 picks.
Yeah, you're probably right about that there. I had not settled on it. I was still kind of seeing the board a little bit, but I'm a Justin Fields guy. I think he's always going to be one of those players that's a better fantasy quarterback than an actual quarterback there. And there's value in keeping that the floor for him as a rusher is incredibly important for your own team's production there. So I love the pick, Mark, and especially the stack. Yeah, I'm in. I like that. That's one of my favorite picks of the year so far. Travis Hunter off the board.
Justin Fields finished 8th last year in fantasy points per game in his 4 was it 6 starts or 4 starts? Why am I blanking?
6, right?
6 starts. Yeah, he went 4 and 2. That's why I got that was what I got mixed up. In his 6 starts, he finished 8th in fantasy points per game, and he was like throwing the ball like 15 times a game. It just goes to show he was not lighting the world on fire, and he was still a very good starting fantasy quarterback. He was QB5 in fantasy points per game in 2022. He was even 14th in 2023 in a pretty disastrous season, and we saw what that Bears coaching staff did to Caleb Williams last year. So I think Justin Fields should get a little bit more grace than he does, in my opinion. But Justin Fields, I'm pumped.
By the way, one of those guys where it's insane that this far into his career, we still don't even really know what he is as a quarterback. This has been one of the stranger career trajectories I can ever think of for a player.
It's really unfair, honestly. People don't really realize that, like, Justin Fields would still be the starter in Chicago if they didn't make the Bryce Young trade the year before and trade down, because they didn't get the first pick because Justin Fields stunk. They got the first pick in a year they went 8-9, and Carolina handed them the first pick, or else Justin Fields would have gotten a contract in Chicago. Like 100% would have gotten a contract in Chicago. People were saying it was a tough. I know Sean Bernard thought that they should have kept Justin Fields and traded that first pick. We'll see. Maybe he's right long term. But
I was team Marvin Harrison. I said stack Marvin Harrison Jr. with Justin Fields, and all of a sudden your offense is cooking.
We'll see. I think they made the right decision personally, and we'll see if that plays out down the stretch. But that was a legitimate conversation, like whether or not they were going to keep Justin Fields and trade the pick, or if they were going to go ahead and go with Caleb. But now people would think about that and think it's like a joke, I feel like. But it's a shame for Justin. Really bad luck for him. Chris Godwin goes off the board. I'm just too worried about the injury. Keon Coleman goes off the board. I think he's bad at football. I don't really get the Keon Coleman thing. I didn't when in his draft. I wasn't big on him coming out of the draft. He ran like a 4.8 or whatever he ran, 4.6. I don't know what it was, but not a 4.8. That was a joke. But Dak Prescott, by the way, way too early for me. Too early. Way too early. He's QB 17 on my board. Dak Prescott was like QB 19 in fantasy points per game in the games he played last year. There's been this narrative, and it's Cowboys under 8.5 is a cash cow, in my opinion. There's this narrative that the Cowboys were only bad because Dak got hurt last year. They were 3-5 in the games Dak played. Like that was a bad football team that got worse once Dak went out, but they were already bad and already had problems and already had a bottom 10 offense at that point in the first 8 games with Dak. What changed? George Pickens? That's it. Like I don't get any Cowboys optimism not even just fantasy, just overall. I don't get Cowboys optimism this year. I think they're going to be terrible.
Yeah, I'm with you on the win total under. That's a lock for me. Especially like you said, they didn't really change much besides add George Pickens, to a team that needed a lot.
You replaced your idiot head coach with your doofus offensive coordinator.
Yeah, you didn't do anything.
It's whoop-de-doo. Quinshon Judkins, hey, who knows? Who knows? That's what we don't know.
I was ready to roll the dice.
It's a dice roll.
Sean Bernard's team's certainly not winning any humanitarian awards, but on the roster. But hey, well, that's not what we don't get points for good sportsmanship. Right. J.K. Dobbins, great pick by Nick McClay there. Fantastic pick. I think Beef dropped the ball, to be honest. I think Beef should have paired up the RJ-JK duo there in Denver. I think there's a chance both have value. How about that for some? And that's also, I think they're going to run the ball a lot more. Going back to the Bo Nix conversation earlier, I think Denver's going to run the ball a whole heck of a lot more. Last year they had no running game to speak of, with Javonte Williams being terrible and Jaleel McLaughlin and my guy Audric Estime just not good enough.
There's Herbert.
There goes Justin Herbert, and I think he's the correct quarterback at this point. Wait, there's one quarterback who I'm not going to say his name. There's one quarterback who but there's one quarterback who I think should go above Herbert that's still available. And Tucker Kraft, I think, is a great pick, by the way. Fantastic.
Make me the case for Justin
Herbert.
Herbert.
Big fan of Tucker.
Make me the case for Justin Herbert, because we're coming off a season in which the team had some of their best success, in which he threw the ball the fewest amount of times in several years. Why is he a fantasy impact player?
let me pull up the stat that I sent Roy. I'm trying to find this. Yeah, Herbert's last 11 games would have put him at QB6 in points per game. So if you just take out the games that he was hurt for, his last 11 games, he was a top 6 quarterback.
Wasn't hurt.
He came into the year last year.
Just ran the ball.
Just to add on that,
he came into the year hurt. He did come into the year hurt last year. He had an ankle injury.
He was QB 11 from week 7 on, and his last 11 starts, he had 8 top 12 finishes.
And he was QB6 in that stretch. So that's what it is. And you're buying in that Omarion Hampton kind of gives him another. They didn't have a running back to throw to last year. They had J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards. J.K.'s neither of them are pass catching backs. Omarion Hampton should especially help Herbert for fantasy purposes. Now, Slater going down, if you want to argue that Slater going down could really hurt that offense and maybe Herbert can't get to that height anymore without the best player on his offense. Now, there's an argument there for that. But I think when you're talking Herbert, Bo, a guy I'm not going to name who's still on the board, those kind of guys, I think you're kind of picking nits and you're picking your favorite. I think QB 8 through QB 14 for me is separated by very little. I have them back to back overall on my big board.
Is Jordan Love the guy whose name you won't say?
Mm-mm.
Huh. Who is the Voldemort of this conversation?
ESPN ranks him much lower than most fantasy sites. I'm not going to say it because I want him. So I
want him to come back.
Oh, I'm on the board. That's a fun fact.
There you go.
That would have been funny if I got auto drafted after yelling about auto draft. It's time. He might not play this season, folks. He might not play. But when I'm rolling the dice at running back, I'm taking a guy who I classically hate. He might miss.
You hate this man.
He might also be the starting running back for Houston. So I'm going to go with Mixon. He's my RB4. If he doesn't play, I think it's fine if I miss out on a 9th round pick. And if he does play by week 6, I think that's a steal.
Yeah, I like that. The injury news does not sound great with Joe Mixon. I won't lie. The more that I've read, the less confident I feel that he is any bit relevant this year. But at this stage, I agree.
There's less actual information than I've ever seen about an injury with Mixon. Like the Texans are saying nothing about what's going on, but they're still saying oh, you might play in week 1. It's like, if that's out there still, I think Judkins is probably a bigger problem to me in terms of missing time than Mixon for me.
Yeah, that's
I
probably
think I'll make a prediction. I think Judkins plays in a game before Mixon does.
Okay, that's fair. I don't. Yeah, the Judkins thing is just so much more up in the air to me. Honestly, I think Mixon's going to come back. I agree. Mixon's playing for his contract. He's done after this year in Houston. He's not going to want to sit out the whole year. I think he's going to, even if he re-injures himself, which is possible. Ramondre. Let me see how do I feel about that Ramondre? Oh, that's a good pick. That's a good pick. Looking at what I have on my board still, Ramondre is a good pick.
I'm reading up deeper on my guy Quinshon's situation here.
It's a bizarre one.
He just needs a contract at this point. I mean,
that's the big. They're gonna squabble over the same thing Shamar Stewart was fighting about, except this time there's a real reason to squabble over it. Maybe
and there might be some league punishment according to the reports, but that's kind of ambiguous. My guess is that they'll sign him within the next week or so, and then he'll need a few weeks to kind of get up to speed. But I think he'll probably be around week 4, week 5-ish.
I'll take it.
Travis
Etienne. He's probably the best running back in that room. So
how do you feel about that Jags backfield?
Oh wow, Goddard's a great pick there, Sam. Great pick by Sam.
The Jags backfield. That's the $1 million question, right?
Who knows?
Because no one knows. Is there enough Travis fire under Travis Etienne now to get him to be a good running back?
I mean, if there hasn't been already, there's going to be nothing that will.
Right.
I absolutely should have taken Dallas Goedert instead of Joe Mixon. That was a mistake. Yeah, tight end's going to be a problem.
Who's your tight end right now, Mark?
I do not have one.
I don't have a quarterback, if that makes you feel better.
doesn't.
But there's good
I am a big, just historically, a wait on a quarterback guy that I typically do not take one within the first like 8 to 10 rounds.
Yeah,
absolutely. I only took Fields in the 8th because I thought you would.
You were correct.
Goddard is going to be my pick coming back. Caleb and Kyler, good picks there.
Very good picks. Very good value for those guys.
Still a quarterback I would take over both of them on the board. I know Roy agrees with me.
I can't believe you're that high on Matt Stafford, Mark.
Yeah, right. But I know Roy. Actually, I was wrong. He's ranked higher than I thought on ESPN.
Oh, okay. I know you're talking about
Goff. Gotta be. Yep, nailed it.
Yeah.
nailed it on
Nailed
it. Yeah, it's Goff. I think Goff's like the safest player in fantasy.
The only thing that I keep bringing up is I do think Detroit, like across the board, is due for some significant regression this year. I think the coordinators are a big deal for them.
I think it matters less for Goff than the other pieces.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I'm Goff is going to be solid. I'm not really critiquing that particular analysis there, but that's sort of one of my more widespread beliefs is Detroit. I'm selling stock pretty much across the board on.
I hate the pick I just made, but he's very much like the only tight end left that I think has upside. So I went Colston Loveland, who is like, I think when I did my hate list with Roy, he was on it. But there you
go. For the record, Brock Purdy still on the board, 20 spots after his ADP. Is there any particular reason why no one's enamored with Brock Purdy? I mean, is it just everybody's hurt?
Is anyone enamored with Brock Purdy?
Whoa, Iowa State, man. Come on.
Oh, the Cyclones.
49ers thing. That's 100% what it is.
Well, and I think he's fine. He's a guy I think is probably a better real quarterback than fantasy quarterback. Like, he's not going to give you anything in the running game there.
No, he does. He gives you more than you think in the running game. He gave last year he had 323 yards and 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, fantasy QB 12 last year. Yeah.
That is better than I was thinking there. I'll give you that.
It's better than I thought, honestly. Like before, when I was when I was doing my research, it's better than I thought.
I'm sorry, QB 11.
I have Purdy at QB at QB 12 for me, above Kyler, definitely above Dak. I greatly prefer Purdy to Dak. I greatly prefer.
Yeah, I like Dak. See, I'm a Dak guy. I have Dak at 10 and Purdy 13. But I mean, yeah, it's preference, personal preference.
And there's Goff.
Oh, but
there he goes.
Lamar Jackson. What are we doing?
I need a backup, man.
Lamar does.
I need a backup.
Lamar has gotten hurt in the past, so I'll excuse it. But part of the value,
I never go with one quarterback.
Well, no. But part of the value of taking a quarterback high is you can take the backup and
right.
Yeah. Generally, is what I think. But if you don't like anything,
there goes JCM.
Bill.
JT home run in the bottom of the 8th.
There we go.
Bill Cross.
You're ahead of me.
Oh, my bad, Nick.
No, you're good. I gotta go.
Didn't happen.
I gotta grab those radio calls. So, but I'll wait. JT, man,
he's been unbelievable lately.
He's been unreal.
He might be the story of the season if he keeps this up.
Oh, dude, he's hitting.
Well, I guess Kyle.
since June 1st.
Yeah.
Funny though, his OPS is 790.
It's
it's unbelievable to hit 321 for like a 3-month stretch and have an OPS under 800. But he's walked 9 times since June 1st. He just does not see pitches. But he's been unbelievable. He's been on fire. The Phillies repeatedly have messed up on like which guys they let go to the last year of their contract.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. Schwarber makes him pay. JT made him pay last time. JT's making him pay again. Rangers making him pay. Like, sheesh. But we're not here to talk about the Phillies. It is funny though. Ja'Cory Krusky-Merrick going over Brian Robinson Jr.
That's pretty funny.
Who would have thought that?
I honestly may have paired them both if they were both available with both my back-to-back picks.
Did changing his name to Bill help or hurt his stock? For me
personally, I like Ja'Cory. I think Ja'Cory's better.
It boosted it for
Bill's
me.
great.
Yeah,
I love Bill.
I like JCM. I think JCM where I was getting used to that already, but Jordan Mason, fantastic pick by Roy. I was really praying he got back to me. Bernard, do you want any advice on? He took him anyway. I hate that.
Fair. It is a backup tight end if that makes you feel any better. Why do you hate it specifically?
I think he's another guy who is just straight up bad. Like I think the Bills have done a bad job. Like you should not plug a first round pass catcher into a Josh Allen offense and like have them really struggle. Like Kincaid has struggled for 2 or 3 years since he's been drafted. Keon was horrible for a lot of last season. So I think they've done a really horrible job drafting. But I'm actually just surprised Kincaid is like ranked as highly as. It's not like a youth thing. It's industry. Like I don't have him in my top 200. Overall, like I don't think he's a draftable fantasy set personally. Stroud's right on that line, by the way. Stroud is barely a draftable fantasy asset.
Really? You're not a Stroud fan?
Jaden Higgins, barely a draftable fantasy asset for me. So I guess we are getting to that. We are getting to that level. I know why Nick McClay took Jaden Higgins.
I didn't even have to say anything.
Clone up.
I did give some consideration to CJ Stroud. Why are you so out on him, Mark? Because I'm buying some stock in a resurgence season.
He was just so bad last year from a fantasy standpoint.
I think I'm with you, Bernard. I think I'm buying a bounce back year for Stroud.
Yeah. The O-line is so bad. It's so bad. I think it's more likely. I think it's more likely that he has the same year as last year than it is that he has anything close to 2023, just because of the offensive line. Where do I go here? I think I can wait on quarterback at this point.
Kyle Pitts.
This is the year, Roy.
This is the year. This is the year.
I think it's time to start branching out personally. I've used every single pick on running back, tight end, or wide receiver thus far.
I'm gonna go ahead and take another dart throw, another swing. Even though I just said all that about not wanting anybody on the Cowboys offense. Jaden Blue is a good pass catcher coming out of Texas. I liked him in the draft as kind of a plug and play guy, as a third down back, a good pass blocker, good pass catcher. I think he's going to get on the field that way. Javonte Williams is horrible. As someone who drafted a lot of Javonte Williams last year, let me just tell you from firsthand experience that he's absolutely not good.
Yeah, that was rough watching him as a Javonte truther trying to push that narrative and then just him doing absolutely nothing.
He made us look bad, McClay. I know you were with me on that last year. I was all in.
Should we start some early grades while we're still going here? Mark, I'd love your thoughts on my team and Roy, you as well here. My starting group right now, we got Saquon Barkley, Chase Brown, T. Higgins, DK Metcalf, Evan Ingram, Breece Hall, and then my bench unit looking at Stephon Diggs, Quinshon Judkins, Deebo Samuel, Brian Robinson Jr., and Dalton Kincaid. Any early thoughts there?
I think you're going to be rough at quarterback, but everything else is, that's awesome. That's a great.
You're
really
stacking those spots. And look, if Quinshon Judkins again becomes Cleveland's #1 running back, and 4 weeks from now you're good, and if Brian Robinson lands in a good spot, then that's another potential guy you can play as a flex every week. I mean, you're really stocked at both running back and wideout.
Well,
you could find a quarterback.
You're stocked at wideout. You're stocked at wideout, but I'm a little. My problem with the wideout situation is that you don't have an elite guy.
Agreed.
And that's not your. That's the problem of picking high and picking a running back, and it's why I found where I think I might have CeeDee Lamb like 4th overall on my big board, just because if I'm picking that high, I know I'm going to like the running backs that get back to me in terms of Chase Brown and in terms of Devon Achane or Kyron Williams, Josh Jacobs, whoever you want to say. I feel good about those guys, so I want to make sure I get that receiver in the first round. Saquon Chase Brown is an unbelievable one too, but I do think you're gonna miss out not having that elite receiver. But good team.
What's up, boys?
What's up,
Luke
Luke?
Arcaney joining.
Luke, how we doing?
What's going on? JT's
up,
hot.
baby?
Bills are hot.
What's the score?
Real Muto
6-4.
just hit a 2-run homer in the 8th.
2-run? Okay.
6-4. He
I knew he heard. I
absolutely,
didn't know.
absolutely bombarded that baseball.
Yeah, I think we get nuked.
Oh, I'm on the clock. My fault.
Tansy with a defense and kicker. Get out of here, Tansy.
So we get a little light show tonight.
Taking defense and kicker before the last 2 rounds. He does this every year, and then he's like, I don't like any of the players. I'm like, okay, that's fair. But it's not fair. I don't actually feel that way.
Who the hell is this guy?
Luke, how are we feeling about your team thus far?
I like it. I'll say I like my front rounds a little better than my back rounds.
Okay.
But I like it so far. I don't know who I like here. Matter of fact, I don't like anybody here. But
We're at that stage.
Yeah.
If we're being frank, I don't really like my
team. Is Tyler Algier the RB2 still?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool. Welcome to the team.
Son of a bitch, Luke. I needed him behind Bijan.
Yeah, I went very receiver heavy early. And yeah.
Same.
I mean, I like my starting lineup a lot, actually. The depth isn't – the wide receiver depth is there. The running back depth is not.
Give me JJ. I'll take JJ McCarthy. I'm not excited about it, I guess. But I don't know. I'm a little higher on JJ than most. I have JJ as my QB 15. I'd rather have JJ than Dak. How about that for the people?
Really? Wow. Okay.
Sam Darnold finished his QB 9 last year. I just think KOC can cook with anyone. Kirk Cousins finished QB 7 with KOC. We saw, Josh Dobbs and Nick Mullins were fantasy relevant when KOC had his hands on them. I just think I think there's a top 15 floor for KOC. Josh Jefferson. What am I doing? I need to get on the road before I fall asleep. Justin Jefferson and KOC offense, I think, might have a top 15 fantasy quarterback floor. And JJ might test that floor because I'm not even a fan of JJ as a talent. But it's just, I think if it's going to work anywhere, it's going to work with, in my opinion, the smartest offensive mind in football outside of the Shawns.
Thank you.
Peyton and McVay, not Brace Bernard.
I assume that meant me there, but
they're also SEAN guys, though. Yeah, how do you feel about that? All the NFL head coaches are SEAN guys. How do you feel about SHAWN guys?
I'm not a guy who has like a disdain about it. Like I'll say Sean Alexander, I thought ruled when he was an AUN guy. I thought that was dope there. So I'm open. Yeah, I'm open to all versions. Mm-hmm.
Was Sean White a U guy?
Yeah,
I believe he was.
He was a
U.
He was. He's a U.
I don't know. How do you feel about the U guys?
I like the U guys, to be honest. I might prefer that than the AWNs.
Okay.
Ooh.
I'm also officially selecting the quarterback that will lead me to the promised land, and I got a guy who's going to sling the rock, and that is Michael Penix Jr.
Ooh.
He's my top-ranked quarterback available.
All right. I can live with that.
Mount Rushmore of ways to spell Sean.
There's the AWN, the AUN, EAN, which I would say is the leader in the clubhouse here, personally speaking,
Maybe.
Shauna.
There's a lot of the variations.
I hate this pick, but
Shawnee?
I have Bucky, so.
I did when I was growing up say that my entire family would be Sean dialect, so I could have a Deshaun, a LaShawn, a Tayshawn, a Rayshawn. We can swing them all in there.
Rayshawn Jenkins' wife. I always bring this up when I hear the name Rayshawn. Rayshawn Jenkins signed like a 3-year, $30 million contract a couple of years ago, and I thought it was bizarre that someone could sign a $30 million. I think you guys know I know a lot of names when it comes to NFL players. I'm pretty plugged in from the draft on. And Rayshawn Jenkins was a guy who signed a $30 million deal who I had never heard of at that point. And I quote tweeted, and I'm like, probably not a good idea to give someone $30 million who I've never heard of. And Rayshawn Jenkins' wife got in my mentions and was like, if you don't know him, you don't know ball. And he was cut 9 minutes later.
Yeah. Got the last laugh there, Mark.
I got the last laugh on Rayshawn Jenkins. That's for sure. I've told that story like 10 times on air. It's probably not a story that needs to ever get told again. Rashad White, by the way, I think is a really good pick there. Nick McCoy.
Yeah, I have Bucky too, so any injury, but I really wasn't too high on Rashad.
If Bucky goes down, Rashad White is a top 10 back. I mean, just off of volume and pass catching alone. So, Brandon Ayuk, I like that swing. I like the Nick Chubb swing at this point too. Sean Bernard, there is a correct pick on the board for you in a second if Nick McClay doesn't take it.
Interesting.
I think. Oh wait, never
mind. Mark has me thinking here.
It's gonna be May.
Imagine 100.
Not bad.
Imagine 102.8 miles an hour going right at your head.
Yeah.
No.
No, I'd say no.
I'm gonna wait to say my take until the inning's over. I'm gonna wait.
Good Lord.
Can you guys see me?
Yeah. Oh, you're frozen. But
you're frozen. Yeah.
You.
My thing is tweaking right now.
Mark, I appreciate your love for Drake May. I like Drake May as well, but I'm taking the next superstar quarterback in the NFL.
Stand on business, Sean.
That's
standing on business.
I hate that.
Back-to-back quarterbacks and back-to-back rounds.
That's right.
One of them's got to work.
If you went Penix May or Penix Ward, I would have been like, you know what? I think you waited too long, but I think you pulled it together. Now I'm like, all right. Michael Penix better be good.
Bryce Young could be I think he'll be a top 15 fantasy quarterback this year.
I did not rank him in my top 27 in the 27 quarterbacks that I put as draftable. I did not have Bryce Young in there. Drake May.
We're keeping our receipts, me and Bryce. So
I've said a lot about Bryce Young. You can pull back up. Najee Harris, you dog Nick McClay. He's bad at football, and you took him from me. Are you kidding me?
And he can't see.
I was going to say blindness.
That's a myth. It's a myth that he can't see.
Echolocation.
He can see just fine.
Helen Keller.
Maybe. I don't know. Not 100%.
It's like Daredevil.
Not 100%. Oh, I should probably load up the draft board. Here we go.
This is just Christian.
Get some guys in that queue. Everybody load up that queue so we don't have to wait.
Christian McCaffrey might get hurt. Isaac.
I'm on the clock. God.
Luke Arcani scrambling.
It's not letting me log back in. All right, there we go.
Scrambling like Jalen.
Wasn't letting me log back in.
102. Oh my God.
Yeah, he throws the ball really hard.
Gas.
All right. I'm gonna be honest. 149 rank right now. Who the hell is that guy?
Oh hell yeah, Luke. Bashul Tootin.
Oh come on.
Give me him.
That's the boy.
That's an awesome name. I'll take him. Good name.
Dude can run.
Easily passes the name check.
He's the best back in that backfield.
He could be the starter by week 8.
Yeah.
The problem is Liam Cohen.
I think he could be a starter before that.
Liam Cohen seems like he hates it. Every quote Cohen is given about the backfield makes you think he's like, man, I fucking hate rookies.
102 past the big dumper.
An hour and
Get him out of here.
Get
the big dumper out of here.
See ya. Good win.
By the way, shout out Luke Arcani for simultaneously getting the post-game tweet out as making his draft pick there.
Come on,
that's good work.
That's why I was scrambling a little bit. It was like exact timing.
Joanne Durant's the best pitcher alive right now.
He just fanned Cal Raleigh on 3 pitches to end the game.
He's the best pitcher alive.
He's ridiculous.
People can throw schemes at me like that's fine.
Cool.
Joanne Durant is more unhittable right now than any pitcher alive, and it's only for an inning, so it just doesn't matter the way Skeens does. But just in terms of like nastiest pitcher alive right now, it's Joanne Durant.
It is unbelievable. Like I get, it's still early. I don't want to be jinxing anything or saying anything too quick, but it's even better than I expected.
Oh yeah, well, I get it's better than I expected. He hasn't given up a run yet. I knew that he was the best reliever in baseball when we traded for him. Like, it's why it's so insane that we got him for what we did, and Mason Miller went for what he did. I understand Mason Miller might be a starter long term. Mason Miller's way younger, way more control. But Duran is just a flat out, like, comfortably better pitcher than Mason Miller.
Comfortably better than any other reliever in baseball.
I agree. 100% I agree.
And we traded a pitcher who was a bust last year and a guy who's probably not even going to be
a catcher
behind the plate in like years.
I like both of those late swings, by the way, Dylan Sampson and Ray Davis. I'm a Ray Davis guy.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of flies in. I think his inefficiency metrics are pretty bad. And I know he ran for like 3.9 yards per carry. This is an eye test sicko boomer mode here, but when I watch Ray Davis, that guy's a running back. I'm like, that guy's good. That guy's a good, and it comes from Kentucky too. He had a game at Kentucky that he had like 270 yards that I bet on Kentucky during, and that's probably what that goes back to. But I've always felt like if James Cook ever gets hurt, Ray Davis is going to run away with that job.
That, by the way, is exactly why I'm O'Reilly. Go ahead, Roy.
I'm sorry, I said former Temple Owl Ray Davis.
Really? I didn't know that.
I didn't know
He
that
was
either.
there for like a couple of years, then he transferred to Vandy.
Wow.
Temple makes, the world takes. Zach
That's
Ertz. I like that pick a lot, by the way, which might be funny. You might be like, Zach Ertz. Over the last 12 weeks, he averaged 12 fantasy points per game. It would be tight end 7 points per game. He was tight end 9 points per game last year, but if you look at the last 12 weeks, he was tight end 7. Zach Ertz to me, very much a draftable player. Very much I think I had him tight end 13, actually. Will Shipley, he better be the running back too.
Damn it! I wanted Will Shipley.
You always want.
I know.
If any running back besides Saquon gets half of the amount of carries as Will Shipley does, it's an abomination. AJ Dillon sucks. He's terrible. He is one of the Isaiah Pacheco better running back than AJ Dillon.
Wow.
How about that?
Tyrone coming from you.
That is.
I agree.
AJ Dillon.
Yes, on the Pacheco. Yeah.
Well, I'm saying because I think Pacheco's horrible, and everybody knows how much I hate Pacheco. But I'm saying like that's how much I think AJ Dillon is not a professional athlete. But
I don't know. I've seen those quads.
He's got big quads. He certainly has big quadriceps.
Rashad Bateman's still the wide receiver too, right? Sort of.
Yeah, he stinks.
Sort of.
He does stink, but he is. Xavier Legette is awesome though.
I think there's some Legette,
Big accent.
Brown, Dash. I think they're all fun upside names that I'd go with over Bateman. I don't think Bateman's that highly ranked on like sleeper. I feel like I haven't seen his name a lot when I've been doing mocks over there. Maybe I'm wrong.
Cedric Tillman's
Tillman.
Tillman.
I like Tillman.
I loved him coming out. He was a guy I really liked.
He was a fun guy to watch in college.
Bad situation to land in for him. I guess in some ways he got a lot of playing time that he probably wouldn't have in a lot of places last year. But it's not like he's going to ever have anyone good throwing him the ball, unless Shedeur Sanders is good. But where should I go here?
By the way, how many quarterbacks do you think the Browns take into week 1?
3.
I saw something today that said they were talking about possibly 4.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they'll keep 4. Sorry. I meant Huntley won't be on the team.
Probably more likely.
So to be Shedeur, Gabriel, Flacco, and Pickett.
I guess.
Yeah. Those are 4. Yeah.
And then because Deshaun Watson
has Pickett even practiced? Hasn't he been injured this whole camp?
I think he practiced like early in camp, but he's hurt now.
Okay.
Super Bowl champion Kenny Pickett for the record.
That is Super Bowl champion.
Luke Arcani.
Luke Arcani.
What? Kenny Pickett?
Yep.
By the way, I saw a doppelganger in Orlando, Florida last week of Luke Arcani at the karaoke bar I was at, and got
that guy
caught.
did look like.
I was on like a balcony at the bar, and I was trying to take a picture like a creepo of this guy near the karaoke stage who looked like Luke Arcani, and this guy walked by me and gave me the dirtiest look that I was like creepily taking a picture of someone, and I was like, he looks like a friend.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
It was a very awkward situation, but I sent it to Luke, and Luke was like, yeah, it's pretty close.
It was actually.
My wife was actually the one who pointed it out. So my wife,
on.
a big Luke Arcani content fan.
Love it.
Shout out.
Big Phil City.
Ali Gordon.
By the way, I took Cam
Ali
for
I like that, Mark.
I never believed in that.
I like taking 3 QBs when I don't have a stud. So going into the year now with Fields, McCarthy, and Ward, I feel like there's some upside with all three with the legs also. So I said that really weird, but with the legs, but
it's in the legs.
Ali
Michael Penix's, but
We love using the legs. We use the legs. Very good. The best, some say. I lost it there. But Ollie Gordon and Mike Gesicki. By the way, Ollie Gordon, not good at football.
No.
He's a guy. I'm a little I'm smited with Ollie Gordon because I thought like Oklahoma State last year was going to be like a playoff contender. I thought he was going to be a Heisman contender. Yeah. And then he ran for 4. That's actually not his stats are not nearly as bad as I thought they were. When I went to pull up his stats, I thought they were going to be like 3.5 yards per carry, but it's 4.5 yards per carry. He went from 21 touchdowns to 13. He went from 1,700 yards to 880, 2,062 yards from scrimmage to 1,059. So definitely disappointing, but maybe not as disappointing as I thought. I think early in the year, he was really bad.
He did provide us with one of the all-time coach defenses of his off-field issues there.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
That's what it is. If you look at his first 6 games last year, he had a good week 1 against South Dakota State. After that, he went 17 carries, 49 yards, 17 carries, 41 yards, 17 carries, 42 yards, 15 carries, 76 yards, 13 carries, 50 yards. I remember at the midway point, they were 3-3. And Ollie Gordon was like running for like 3 yards per carry. He had a pretty good second half of the year after that, even though they lost all the games. But
that offensive line was just so bad too.
Yeah, you might be right that it wasn't even his fault. But it hurt his draft stock because he was like a second, third round type of guy, and then went in the 6th round to Miami. So there were some rumors out there that it looked like he was kind of the backup guy there in Miami. But now Mike McDaniel came out this week and kind of made it seem like Jalen Wright is that guy. By the way, there is a pick that if it gets to me, I might think could be the steal of the draft.
Well, I did just pair Xavier Legette with Bryce Young, so you guys should be watching out there.
I do like I love Xavier Legette. By the way, no excuses for Bryce Young. No excuses for Bryce Young if Bryce Young's not competent this year because you have a good running back. They went out and they spent a ton on that offensive line. Like that offensive line might be the most expensive offensive line in the NFL. Eagles might be up there too.
Yeah, not the Eagles, but more the Eagles. Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, but the Eagles get like good values on guys. Like they might have. I don't know. I'd have to look at it, and they're still not paying the 1 slot. But I think Carolina's up there. And then you have Ted McMillan, who looks like a superstar. You have Xavier Legette, who I think is an NFL wide receiver, like a starting wide receiver. Thielen, who diced up Cooper DeJean last year.
Hey, I stand with Bryce Young here. We are not asking for excuses. We're about to prove the haters wrong this season on Team Bernard.
There aren't haters, by the way. It's like me.
There are legitimately no haters.
It's me. You say prove the haters wrong. You say prove you wrong.
Prove Mark Henry Jr. wrong.
Yeah,
I've worded it that way.
There you go.
All right, yeah. I'll say this. I like my team after the draft night this year way better than I did last year. I hated my team last year.
The steal of the draft is on the board. Sean Brace's favorite player. He's ranked far too low. It's unbelievable that he's all the way down at 223.
All right,
give me Rico Dowdle. Give me I'm a Rico rider. Everybody knows I'm a Rico rider. Rico Dowdle. Are we sure Chuba Hubbard's that much better than Rico Dowdle in reality? Like we're not sure. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure.
I'm sure.
What?
He's my running back. That's why. Mark, let me know if this is a good pick here. All right.
Let me see.
Oh, interesting.
I just don't know what to make of the Titans pass game. It could be. It could be. I think it's.
I don't hate it.
Yeah, I figured in the 15th round, it can't be terrible.
It's hard for me to hate it when I'm not that in on Calvin Ridley. Like, if I'm not in on Calvin Ridley, it has to mean the targets are going somewhere.
Well, good thing
I'm not really in on Pollard. You have Ridley. Then actually, there's no way you won't have a relevant fantasy receiver then. Like I think there will have to be a fantasy relevant receiver in Tennessee.
Unless they like alternate weeks, which would be hilarious.
That would
Chico Conquo was the guy.
Chig. Build the whole plane out of Chico Conquo. I am really hoping for a certain kicker to make it back to me.
That Ridley Lockett every other week thing will be like when I bet Schwarber home run or Bryce home run.
Yep.
And if I bet Schwarber, Harper goes yard, and if I bet Harper, Schwarber goes yard.
As we're sitting here, I'm going to try to run through and rank the teams real quick without much, just like first glance. So can you, if you guys want to run through what's going on?
I need
as we got.
I need a kicker here.
AD Mitchell, I love AD
I got
Mitchell.
snagged on Dicker the kicker.
That was my kicker.
All right,
He wasn't. He wasn't getting to you, Mark. Don't worry.
They ain't scoring points anyway.
Yeah, that's fair. Who's scoring points?
So who are the best non-kickers and defenses left on the board? Because I'm locked out. I can't see.
We got Michael Wilson is currently the ESPN #1 recommended. Justice Hill, Jack Breach, Kyle Williams, Darren Waller. So yeah, we are in the weeds here, fellas.
Darren Waller playing football again is crazy.
Exactly. Well, here's the thing though: if you guys have an injured guy, throw him on the injured list. You get basically a free 18th round pick. On the waiver wire. So make your plans.
I'm still bumping the Darren Waller music here. So
yeah.
Oh God.
So it's Gruden.
Although Kelsey Plum
got me feeling nicey. I'm trying to decide between McClay and Beef's team right now, and I'm on the board. I'll take Fairbairn, but
Kaimi.
Kickers are very disposable, folks.
The kickers and defense. I only make my defense pick based on who they're playing in week 1.
Week 1, right?
I know I'm going to be picking them up all year long.
And even kickers like Justin Tucker was like the gold standard forever, and then look what happened. Like he just completely fell.
Fast.
Yeah, it goes super quick.
Which is what I was worried about with Jake Elliott last year, and I think it kind of went, but we made it there anyway, and we got through it.
Yeah, he was shaky.
Really quick on Johan Duran, really, because I'm just saying some nut shit. He's faced 19 batters since coming to the Phillies. He has 6 saves as a Philly.
Wow,
that's unbelievable.
He's faced 19 batters. He's retired 17 of them.
Wow. Yeah, I don't think I can get off that guy.
Ridiculous, dude. 6 saves. The minimum amount of batters you have to face realistically in his scenario for 6 saves is 18 batters. Right. And he's faced 19 batters. That's
absurd.
Absurd. He's so good. What did he?
It's now that it's like over. It's so hilarious that he got wheeled off the field on the Nationals.
And he's fine.
First of all, burn that cart to the ground.
Yeah.
Second of all, that was bad.
I like Luke's team a lot.
Yes.
Yeah, Luke's got a good team.
He hit the metrics. He got the top 10 receiver. He got 2 startable running backs. He got the stud quarterback. I'm higher on Baker than a lot. I'm higher on JSN than a lot of people.
I like Baker a lot.
Love JSN.
If you're hurting,
I got the little
I didn't love the Njoku pick. I didn't love the Njoku pick, and I think running back depth could be a problem. But
I didn't really love the Njoku pick at that time either. I just was kind of scrambling and realized I didn't have a tight end, and I probably should have just went depth.
Oh, you know whose team I hate?
Say it.
Tansy.
TKO. I really don't like TKO's team. You've got
start at the top.
He's only got 1 quarterback, and it's Kyler Murray. Like, you have my QB 14, and you didn't draft a backup. Christian McCaffrey, the riskiest player in fantasy. Derrick Henry. I'm not gonna. He should be without risk, but he is like 32. Marvin Harrison Jr. I laid out why I think that's was a bad pick where he made it. George Pickens as a wide receiver too is just not good enough. I'm lower on TJ Hawkinson than most. Like, I don't really understand the hype and why people would slot him above Addison in that offense when Addison is much more of a part of that offense. Kamara, we talked about it. I don't hate the pick, but like the Saints are horrible. Zay Flowers, I hated that pick. Chris Olave is a bump in the head away from
he loves the Saints.
A bump in the head away from a never being able to, pour a drink into his mouth again. That was too far. That was too far. I hand up.
My great grandmother takes offense to that.
Not wrong. I mean, but
all right. I definitively have my 3 least favorite teams.
Oh God.
Are any of them on the stream?
No.
Okay. Look at that.
I didn't look at Sam's yet. Let me make sure. Nah, Sam isn't in. Sam's in the middle, I think. Yeah, Allen, A-Chain Swift, Nico McLaurin, Goddard. I like Scattaboo and Shakira. I actually think Sam might have one of my
Scattaboo.
This was quick.
It's
this
sick.
Was quick. My official projected playoffs. My projected playoffs. Roy Burton is my favorite team by far. That rascal.
Of course he does.
Scumbag, Roy Burton. Stealing the first pick. I have my second favorite team. I literally drafted off of my rankings, so it's actually incredible that I don't have the best team off my ranking.
That's why Roy Burton exists.
Luke Arcaney has my third favorite
Bang!
team.
Let's go.
McClay has my fourth favorite team.
I'll take it.
Okay. I'll say Beef has my fifth favorite team. And then it's tied between Sam and Pacone for 6-7. I have to break that tie. I have to go compare the rosters and actually break the tie.
I think you must have just forgot to bring up my team, Mark.
Bernard is 8th, so he's not in the bottom tier that I was talking about. He's right outside of that. Or not right. He's right outside of the play. You're closer to the top 6 than you are the bottom 3. Was what I was saying. Same with Sean Brace, who I have in 9, closer to the top 6 than the bottom 3. The 3 teams I hate the most are Joe Tansey, comes in 10th for me. Going through the Tansey picks, if I'm pulling up the roster, you feel great about Brian Thomas Jr. and Malik Neighbors at wide receiver. You feel great about Jalen Hurts at quarterback. I think Sam Laporta, when you took Jalen Hurts, that was the problem, that you went ahead and took Sam Laporta as well. A quarterback and a tight end really early. It makes it really hard, and it makes it even harder when you go ahead and then draft Bo Nix in the 8th and Caleb Williams in the 10th. So he used 4 of his top 10 picks on quarterbacks and tight ends. And that makes the rest of the roster really look like it's lacking. You look at the running backs, and we have Kenneth Walker, Jalen Warren, Travis Etienne, and Ray Davis. That's not good enough at the running back position. So one of my least favorite teams there. I already gave through TKO. TKO is my predicted Sacco for the second straight year. But in 11th place, I have Powers. Joe Burrow, I like that. But James Cook, Isaiah Pacheco, that's like literally a running back room of like my least favorite values in fantasy football this season.
Another. Sorry, Mark. Keep going. Continue.
No, you're good. You're good.
No.
No. Go ahead.
Another update on Johan Duran, just in case anyone cares. They officially have nailed down his intro. So they have the thing on the screen that if you scan the QR code on the screen, your phone hooks up to the MLB Ballpark app, and the stadium controls your phone flashlight.
Get the hell out of here. That's amazing.
It's going to be it's so sick.
I think like one of the best things for baseball, like period, in a long time.
Yeah, 100%.
But it's so like
I'd say the Edwin Diaz thing is like pretty close to it.
The first night that he came out, like I feel like every 9th inning, it's just like, all right, it's Strahm, all right, it's Kerkering, all right, it's like whoever. Like the first night he came out, like it was just like this dude's gonna get out of this every single time. Like it just feels like and in the most like even trying to take the intro out of it, but just like the second the lights go off, it's just like the other team has no shot. Like they just don't have a chance. It's absolutely insane.
By the way, update to my quarterback room. Geno Smith is now part of it.
Christ.
I like that pick, by the way. I like that pick.
Thank you.
I do think he's fantasy relevant this season. I'm deciding between the Cardinals and Commanders defenses here, strictly because the Cardinals play the Saints and the Commanders play the Giants. I'm going to go with the Cardinals because they play the Panthers.
Yeah.
Shit. I never. See, I've always been anti-backup quarterback. I usually just rock with one, which probably isn't the smartest move. But I've started drafting a backup quarterback this year, and I just completely forgot to draft a backup.
I think you're fine with Baker.
With Baker,
Baker doesn't really get hurt. Like you can go and pick up whoever the top.
Yeah, you could probably just stream someone.
Drafted. Who do the Seahawks play week 1?
Niners.
Who do the Lions play week 1?
Packers.
Wow.
Who do the Bills play week 1?
Ravens.
Oh my God. Who do the Bucks play week 1?
I don't know that one.
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh? All right, I'll take that.
Yeah.
I was hot for a minute.
I know one that's out there is the Rams.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
Rams
Not Pittsburgh. Not Pittsburgh. I'm sorry. That was preseason week 1.
The Rams play
who's Tampa
Houston.
play?
The Rams play Houston and Tennessee.
Tampa plays Atlanta. Tampa plays Atlanta.
Tampa plays Atlanta.
Wow, week 1 divisional.
That'll work.
A lot of division games week 1.
I don't even know if the Bucks have a good defense, but
Oh, they're fine.
They're pretty good.
Better at least week 1.
Yeah, it's who they're going against. That does matter more.
I might. At one of my leagues, I think I've committed to just dropping a defense every week and trying to pick up whoever plays the Saints every single week that I can.
That's not a bad play.
Not a bad idea.
And there it is.
Right?
That is the 2025 Gambler Fantasy Draft. I'll be breaking this down. I lost whatever. I like tabbed away the StreamYard and I could not find where that where that window was on my computer here. But that's going to do it for the draft. On Saturday on the Tough Cover Radio Show, I'm going to break this down a little bit more in depth where the rankings will actually be from me comparing the teams. Roy will still be 1, but the other stuff might be different. Guys, how we feeling? Plug on the way out. Luke, you go first.
Yeah, I feel good, honestly. I usually don't feel good after our gambler drafts because there's just a lot of fantasy sickos in here, and I feel like I always end up in the bottom half. But I actually like it this year. So yeah, that's about it. I like my team.
You can follow him on Twitter.
At Arcani Luke or at Luke Arcani. It's one of the two.
Over there. Nick McClay.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy. I'm happy. I wasn't expecting to go quarterback that early, but when Patty drops to, I think I got him in round 7. I mean, I'm going to take him there, and I have that Xavier Worthy pairing, so I'm happy with that. Picks for Bucky and Bijan, so kind of just locked in on running back. But I'm happy with it so far. So far, so good.
And you can follow Nick McClay at Nick McClay22. And yeah, if anyone sees Patrick Mahomes go 74th overall or later in their draft, let me know because I don't think it'll happen in another draft I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
Roy Burton, where can the people find you?
Find me on Twitter at the BS line. I got to echo your sentiments from early in the draft, Mark. I think a lot of the top ranked guys I had went off the board pretty early, so I had to kind of pivot a little bit. You and I always talk about not drafting quarterbacks early. I wound up taking Jaden Daniels in the 5th. Didn't plan on it, but that's just kind of the way the board fell because, all you guys kind of scooped up the RBs and wide receivers I had at that spot. But I feel pretty good at the draft, and I just want to let you know, Mr. Picone, it's coming home.
And I'll go to Picone right here for his rebuttal there. But I do think, and Roy can chime in on this as well, this drafted like an industry expert draft. Like if you go read like a CBS Sports mock draft where Jamie Eisenberg and those guys are letting the quarterbacks go until round 10, like that was a lot of what happened here. Like fantastic job by the Gambler crew. Picone.
Not a huge fan of my team right now.
You always feel that way.
But
I've loved your team.
That's because I went away from my usual strategy of because it's been a while since I drafted like in the middle of the first round. So it's usually either towards the beginning or at the end. So it was hard to kind of strategize a scenario I haven't seen in a few years at least. But I mean, like I'm looking at my squad now. I went really heavy in running and quarterback. I didn't pick my first wide receiver till 5th round. But then I stacked up on the wide receivers. I have more wide receivers than anything right now on my squad. So it's something I'm probably going to have to do a lot of waiver wire looking at during the course of a season. But I do that anyway. So it's just a matter of I thought my first 3 picks were pretty good. And then I think I kind of just lost my way a little bit. But hopefully I'm just being dramatic.
And Sean Bernard.
Yeah, I went very running back and wide receiver heavy. So if you fellas are looking to shop there, you know what store to go to from for those positions there. But yeah, I'm pretty thrilled with how my team turned out overall. The quarterback room, I'm excited to get everybody together. Geno Smith, Bryce Young, and Michael Penix Jr. and let them hash it out in between each other there. I know it's a fearsome trio that any fantasy manager would love to have as a part of their organization there. But I'm locked in. I'm feeling good about my team. And then as far as me, you can follow me at Sean_Bernard1 on Twitter. Also tap in Phillies and Sixers Digest on YouTube. I'll be in the lab after this cooking up, so make sure to tap in.
And by the way, Luke Arcani, that quarterback that's available for you is Sam Darnold. because there's not a lot of them.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to go pick up.
Might hit the waiver right
one.
now, actually. Waivers open.
That's
Waivers
good,
is
folks. We're gonna talk. I'll cover this on Saturday. Thanks to all the fellas for joining us. Always one of my favorite things we do here at the Gambler. So, Gambler Country. That's right.
That's right.